Alright, we'll begin in downward facing dog. Hands near the top of the mat, on blocks if you need. Feet hip distance apart. Make sure not to lock out your knees. Have a slight bend in them if you need. Pushing through the floor so your hips rise up and back and not dumping into your shoulders. Bend your knees and ski through your hips. Lift your left leg up. Bend at your knee. Open your hip. Transfer your weight to your right hand. Spin to the outer edge of your right foot. Keep your left knee high. Tent your left fingertips. Bend deeply into your right knee until your sole becomes flat. Lengthen down through your tailbone. Rise your left arm up to the sky or to your hip or over your ear. Gaze down for balance. A tendency here is to stay on the knife edge of the foot, but we want to make sure the foot is flat on the ground. Gently lower your left leg to meet your right. Lower your left arm down and push back to downward facing dog. Your right leg will lift. Bring your right knee to your left armpit. Extending your right leg out on the knife edge of your foot. Your left arm will rise up. Pivot your back foot flat on the ground. Scooping your tailbone under, engaging your core so not to sink into that arm. Have a micro bend in your arm. Lower your left arm back down to the block. Pull your right leg back to downward facing dog. Right leg will lift again. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Transfer your weight to your left hand, pushing through that block, tenting your right fingertips. Keep your right knee high. Bend into that left knee. Pivot the foot back and flat on the ground. Lengthen your tailbone down. Engage your core. Rise your right arm up overhead. Keep your gaze down for balance. Your pelvis is lengthened down. Lower your right leg down to meet your left in downward facing dog. Lower your arm. Left leg will lift. Bring it to your right armpit. Extend your left leg to the right side on the knife edge of your foot. Your right arm will rise up. Pivot on that back foot. Make sure it's flat, scooping your tailbone under. Lower your right arm back down. Pull your left leg back to meet your right in downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank pose. A tendency here is to sink into those shoulders, but you want to push through the floor, have a micro bend. Lower to chaturanga. Lift up to cobra. Make sure your gaze is facing forward and you're not pushing your head too far back. Push back to downward facing dog. Pull forward to plank pose. Lower your knees. Pull your chest forward over your hands. Lower to chaturanga. Sink onto that belly. Push up to cobra pose. Gaze forward. And push back up to downward facing dog. Good job, my Jack the Jock. You're done.